You ever sit at a table full of people you love, and realize not one of them actually sees you? That was me. Last Sunday night. My mother's 60th birthday. 60 candles, all burning bright, and me, shoved at the far end of the table, right next to the swinging kitchen doors. The spot they always give me, the waiters kept bumping my chair. I didn't mind. I'm used to being in the way. A mom smiled across the table. Lena, you want some tiramisu? Before I could answer, my brother, Mason, leaned back in his chair, smirk already loading. Does she even have money for coffee? He said. Warehouse jobs don't pay much, right? Silence. 2 seconds of pure, heavy silence, then laughter. My father chuckled first. Then his wife. Even Mom did. I remember the taste of the water I drank instead of wine. Metallic. Cold. Mason didn't stop. He never did. What do you make? 30 grand a year? That's what we spend on insurance. He looked at his wife, like it was a punchline, and everyone laughed again. That I wanted to disappear into that chair. But I didn't. That I just said something like that. And he smiled wider. See? That's what I mean. No ambition. No drive. I built my tech company by 25. She's still scanning boxes at 32. My father nodded, slow and deliberate. Your brother has a point, Lena. When are you going to do something with your life? I felt the air leave my chest. I'm doing fine, I whispered. Fine, Mason laughed. Fine is what people say when they've given up. That's when I stopped listening. His words melted into noise. The clinking of glasses, the scrape of forks, the soft jazz playing overhead. I stared at the empty dessert plate and wondered if this was what invisibility truly felt like, but I smiled. Because I always do. When the check came, Mason pulled out his black card with a flourish. Don't worry, he said loudly. I've got this. We all know who can't afford it. And everyone laughed again, except me. Later that night, when I got home to my tiny apartment, I sat in the dark. My phone buzzed, a message from Richard, my investment manager. We need to discuss your position in Arcadia Technologies. Mason's company, you see, 4 years ago, when Mason's brilliant idea couldn't get funding, when every investor called his software a doomed vanity project, I stepped in. Quietly. Through shell companies. Legal proxies. Anonymous firms. That I became his angel investor. That he never knew, the woman he mocked for working in a warehouse, owned 62% of his company. Every dollar he bragged about came from my accounts. Every breakthrough he credited to fate was me keeping him afloat. That I worked that warehouse job part-time, mostly for the health insurance. The rest of my life was something no one saw. At a private portfolio. Real estate. Startups. Quiet wins stacked over years. I lived below my means so my family wouldn't ask questions. So they'd never ask for a piece, but that dinner, that laughter, something in me cracked. So Monday morning, I called Richard. I want out, I said. That he went quiet. All of it? Yes. You know this will destroy the company, Lena. I know. At 10:47 a.m., Mason got the notice. By 10:52, my phone rang. That he sounded different. Broken. Lena, something's happening. My main investor, they're pulling out. All of it. $4.7 million. He was gasping. We can't replace that capital. The company's going to collapse. I said softly, I'm sorry, Mason. That sounds terrible. He kept talking. Begging. Angry. Confused. Why would they do this? Maybe they needed their money elsewhere, I said, and then, after a pause, he whispered, can I borrow some money? I almost laughed. Mason, I work in a warehouse. Remember? I can't even afford coffee. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm sorry, about what I said. At dinner. It's fine. No, he said. It's not. But it was too late. By Wednesday, the collapse had begun. Investors pulling out. Stock frozen. His name, Once written in glowing tech magazines, now dragged through online forums. By Thursday, Mom called a family meeting. Emergency dinner. This time at home. No candles. No laughter. Mason looked wrecked. Hollow eyes. Hands shaking. The company's over, he said. We're filing bankruptcy next week. The house, the cars, everything's gone. Silence. Who was the investor? Uncle Sam asked. Mason's voice cracked. A firm called AV Holdings. Nobody knows who's behind it. I sat there. Still. Silent until my phone buzzed. An email sent that I watched as Mason checked his. His face changed, confusion, shock, then disbelief. It's you, he said quietly. Everyone turned. You're AV Holdings. You've been funding me. You just offered me a buyback option. Mom's fork hit her plate. My father stared at me. I nodded. Yes. Mom whispered, but you don't have money. I smiled faintly. I do. I just never needed to prove it. How much? Someone asked. About 80 million, I said. The room fell silent. Mason's voice broke. You let me think I was better than you. I looked him straight in the eye. Would you have taken my money if you knew where it came from? From your warehouse worker sister? He looked away, his hands trembled. Why'd you pull out? He whispered. To punish me? No, I said. To wake you up. To remind you that success doesn't make you superior. That wealth doesn't make you right. That the person you mock might be the one keeping you alive. He started crying. Quietly. I didn't feel triumphant. Just empty. I stood up, walked to the door, and said the only thing that felt true. You still have 30 days, Mason. Save what you can. I'm done investing in arrogance. I stepped outside. The night air was cold. The world felt cleaner, and for the first time in years. I didn't feel invisible anymore. Pause. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been treated like your worth depended on your paycheck, remember this: the loudest in the room rarely have the most power. Sometimes, it's the quiet ones writing the checks behind the curtain.